Today's lesson is graphing using Microsoft Excel. The first step is you need to have data on your Excel spreadsheet. So today in class, I asked everyone what their gender is. We either had girls or boys. And then I have a title, number of students. We had a total of 12 girls and only 8 boys. Now that we have our data, we want to make a graph. The first thing you do is select everything that should be included in the graph. Notice there's no extra columns in between my data. If your data looked like this, it will not graph properly. It gets confused with this blank column. So I'm going to delete that and put it how it was. So here we are. We have the gender, girls and boys, and the number of students, 12 and 8. I've selected my data. Next, I want to insert a chart. So I'm going to come up to my Insert tab and find the Charts area. Notice we have all types of charts. I'm just going to explain a simple 2D column chart. When I click that, it automatically creates a chart for me. Once again, I selected my data, I came up to Insert, Chart, and I selected a 2D column chart, and it created a chart for me. Notice up here on my toolbar, I have the words Home, Insert, Page Layout, Formulas, Data, Review, and View. Keep your eye in this area right here. When I select my chart, a new set of toolbars come up. Ready, set, go. Notice now my chart toolbar appears. I'm going to click away and it will disappear. Once again, I'm going to click and my chart toolbar will appear. 1, 2, 3. On my chart toolbar, I have 3 options: Design, Layout, and Format. The first thing you notice is our table or our chart may be overlapping our data, or it may be in the way of some other things we have on our worksheet. The first thing I recommend you doing is moving the chart to its own sheet. We can select the chart, get our chart toolbar, click the Design tab, and move the chart. We have 2 options when we want to move the chart. We can move it to a new sheet or put it in one of our already 3 established sheets. I'm going to put it on a new sheet, and I'm going to title that sheet Gender Breakdown or Gender Chart. Now we still have sheet 1 with our data, but now we have another tab, another worksheet called Gender Chart. And there is our chart. You'll notice some things are not perfect about our chart. First off, the words are small, the numbers are small. We don't have a horizontal or x-axis title. We don't have a vertical or y-axis title. We also really don't need the legend because, well, we know it's calculating the number of students. There's nothing really to compare. All of this can be fixed on the Layout tab. Remember, if you don't see your chart tools, click away, click on the chart, and it will appear. We have all sorts of label options. The first is Chart Title. We do want a chart title. I'm going to change the title from Number of Students to Gender Breakdown in Mr. Lang's Computer Class. Next, I'm going to add axis titles. Horizontal, I'm going to put Gender. Then I'm going to have a vertical axis. And over here, I'm going to type number of students. Next we have next we have legend. As I mentioned before, we don't necessarily need the legend. While you could move it from left to right to bottom, I am going to simply turn it off because it is not necessary. Finally, data labels. I prefer the data labels either in the center, and you notice we now have a number that represents the column chart. You could have it at the inside end, inside base, or outside end. For this, I'm going to have it right in the center. We now have a pretty good looking chart. As I mentioned before, it may be hard to see certain items. So what I can do is I can click on what I want to be enlarged, come over to Home, and click the up arrow. I can do that for every item that I would like bigger. Notice my chart adjusts to the size that everything else is, so it stays proportionate. We now have a pretty simple to see and understand chart. Next, you might say it looks fairly boring as it's just white and blue. To change colors, you can double click in an area and we get the option to fill. If I choose solid fill and I pick the color that I desire, it'll give me a background of that color I picked. You can also change the color of the inside plot area. And you can change the color of your bar graph or columns. You can also give your columns a border. And with the border styles, you can make it thicker. Now we have a pretty good looking chart. It's easy on the eyes. It's very understandable. You can understand it very easily. And it gets our point across. We could have some fun and change our background to a picture. If I double click, instead of having a solid fill, I'm going to come over here to picture. And I'm going to find a piece of clip art that might work for our picture. Since we're comparing student genders, I'm going to try to find a picture of students. And I found a good picture here of a couple students in class. I'm going to click OK and close. Now obviously we have an issue here because we can't see our students. Their heads are blocked by our bars. We can double click on the area we want to change, and instead of having that solid fill be 0% transparency red, we can adjust it, and you will start to notice that the picture becomes see-through. I'm going to put it at 60%. I'm also going to change where my numbers were. My data labels I'm going to put at the inside base, and I'm going to change them from black to a white, bold, making it a little bit bigger. So now we have a chart. It's displaying that there's 12 girls and 8 boys. I have a background picture of a girl and a boy, students in class, and I made it so the boxes were transparent. Now there were a few other options I could have done. I'm going to go backwards, and instead of putting a picture in my plot area, I could put a picture in my box. And instead of the fill being a solid fill, I could do a picture. Clip art, and I'm going to find a picture of girls. And on the boys, I'm going to find a picture of a boy. Once again, you notice the numbers are now in the wrong area. I'm going to come up to layout. I'm going to move my data labels. I'm going to do it outside end so that they're not in the picture. And again, I'm going to change its color, bold it, make it a little bigger. So now, once again, we have a nice looking chart displaying that there were 12 girls and 8 boys.